Today, we're going to dive into something we've all experienced. Those super frustrating workplace processes that seem designed to slow everything down. We're going to talk about how to find them, fix them, and turn those daily headaches into smooth, efficient operations. Let's get into it.
You ever have one of those days where you feel like you're just running in place? You know the feeling. You're working hard, but you're stuck in some clunky approval process that takes forever. Or maybe you're doing the same repetitive data entry task over and over, and you just know there has to be a faster way. Well, that feeling, that's exactly what we're fixing today.
So here's the good news. Those frustrations, they aren't just random annoyances that you have to live with. Nope. They have names, and they are super common problems in pretty much every organization. So let's start by identifying the main culprits behind that workplace slowdown.
So what are we really fighting against here? It all comes down to this idea of business inefficiency. And it's simple, really. It's any step, any task, any part of a process that just wastes time, resources, or your effort without adding any real value to the final product. Think of it like all the unnecessary friction in the gears of your workday.
All right, first up, we have the classic culprit, the bottleneck. Imagine a 5-lane highway suddenly squeezing down into one single lane during rush hour. Total chaos, right? Well, that's a bottleneck in your workflow. It's that one slow step, like say a single manager who has to personally sign off on every little thing, that brings the entire project to a screeching halt. Everything just piles up right behind that one single point.
Next on our list is redundant steps. Oh man, this is the classic doing work just for the sake of doing work. Have you ever had to get like 3 different approvals for a tiny purchase when you know one would have been perfectly fine? That's redundancy. It adds absolutely zero value and just bakes in unnecessary delays.
And then there's manual overload. You know, in this day and age, with all the tech we have, this one is a real head-scratcher. It's like insisting on using a chisel when you have a power drill right next to you. We're talking about someone manually typing data from one spreadsheet into another, a task that is just begging for human error, when a simple automation could do it perfectly in seconds.
Okay, so we've named the bad guys: bottlenecks, redundancy, manual overload. But why does fixing them really matter? I mean, this is about so much more than just getting things done a little faster. This is where it gets really interesting for the whole organization.
You got to think of fixing these things like a powerful domino effect. When you streamline a process, you're not just saving a few minutes here and there, you are cutting real costs and stopping wasted money. But even more importantly, you're liberating your team, your talented people, from boring, monotonous work so they can focus on stuff that actually matters. And that leads directly to better, faster work, and the ultimate prize, happier customers. So how do we actually do this? How do we fix these problems? Well, it's not about just complaining or guessing. There's a real method to it. So let's walk through a clear, step-by-step playbook that you can use to tackle any inefficient process you find. Here it is, your 6-step framework. It all starts with number 1, identify and map the process. Because you can't fix what you can't see. Then you collect data. This is huge. It moves you from I feel like this is slow to I know this takes 3 hours. Step 3, analyze for flaws. That's where you hunt for those bottlenecks. Now, number 4 is absolutely crucial. Engage stakeholders. This just means talk to the people who live and breathe this process every day. With all that knowledge, you can then develop and implement solutions. And you're not done. Finally, you monitor and review to make sure the fix actually, worked. Let's just zoom in on a couple of these because this is really where the magic happens. First, mapping the process visually, like with a flowchart, it's a total game changer. It can show you problems you never even knew were there. But honestly, the most important key to success, talk to your team. The people on the front lines, they know where the real pain points are. And always, always dig for the root cause. Don't just put a Band-Aid on a symptom.
Now, theory is great and all, but let's see how this playbook works in the real world. We're going to look at a small online retailer that was really struggling with their returns process, and they used these exact steps to completely turn things around. So here was the situation. This online retailer's return system was just a mess. It was painfully slow, super inefficient, and it was making their customers really unhappy. And we all know a bad returns experience can absolutely kill a business.
So they followed the playbook and started digging. First, they found a classic bottleneck. They just didn't have enough people inspecting the returned items, which created this massive backlog. But they didn't stop there. They dug deeper and found the root cause. The real reason for so many returns was that the product descriptions on their website were vague and were setting the wrong expectations for their customers in the first place.
And this right here, perfectly shows the power of engaging your team. The retailer said their best ideas, the most valuable insights, came from their customer service reps. And why? Well, because they were the ones on the front lines talking to frustrated customers all day, every day. They knew the real problems inside and out.
So what happened after they made the changes? Hired more inspectors, fixed their website descriptions? Well, the results were just night and day. Processing times dropped like a rock. The actual number of returns went down, and most importantly, their customers were happy again. A total win-win.
Now, this isn't just a feel-good story about some other company. This is a playbook that you can start using in your own job, in your own environment. So let's talk about how you can find your first fix, maybe even starting tomorrow.
So, as we wrap up, what are the big things to remember? First, workplace inefficiency. It's not a permanent condition you have to suffer through. It is a solvable problem. Second, you don't have to guess your way through it. A structured process, this playbook, is your best friend. And finally, and I can't say this enough, never ever underestimate the people doing the actual work. They're your absolute best source of ideas.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Look, you don't have to fix the entire company overnight. That's overwhelming. Just start small. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What's one small, maybe slightly annoying process at your work that you could start to examine tomorrow?